Welcome! Welcome to this webinar about the mass media influence on you and how to manage the media's effect, especially the effects of gloom and doom news. Probably I'm not going to talk about something completely new or different. Some people may already know all this, but not everybody is aware of this. And it's good to remind ourselves of the basics because it seems that sometimes we are forgetting them. So it is about raising awareness of what is happening around us, to us, what we can do about it. There is so much information everywhere, especially in developed countries, and we get pulled in it without thinking. Then we are surrounded by all the information, feeling confused and not knowing whether we can do something about it, and this has an influence on our lives. So at the end of this webinar, you will be more aware of the media's impact on you, how your mind works, and how you can effectively combat the gloom and doom news. Because if we have a choice, we always have. Before I start, I would like to say a few words about me. Would that be okay with you? So my name is Martina, and I am originally from the Czech Republic. So if you were wondering about my accent, now you know from where it comes from. I lived and worked in many countries. I currently live in Spain. I moved here because of the sun and the sea. And I also changed my career from marketing and market research to professional coaching and event organizing. And I really enjoy it. I have decided to change my career because I wasn't fulfilled in my previous jobs. And I wanted to do something meaningful. I want to positively impact people's lives. And this webinar is one of the ways how I can do that, and how I can share my knowledge and learning, because I want all people to know that they have a choice, that they are in charge of their lives, and their thinking influences their lives. I didn't know this for many years, and also didn't know what I wanted. And I can see the difference in my life now when I know it and when I do what I really enjoy. It's a big difference. I wish to everybody to be happy and fulfilled. So it was briefly about me, and now we are going to talk about the mass media. I use the definition that mass media are media used to communicate with large audiences. As most of you know, they have various forms: visual, print, audio. Some of the examples are, for example, TV, radio, newspapers. Digital media such as internet, mobile phones have gained an importance over the last few years. And some consider video games as the mass media too. So what impact do the media have? Let's look at the negative effects. The news are being exaggerated. Controversies are constantly being bombarded on us. Media satiate the people's hunger for trivial information and rumors. For example, yesterday I had a conversation with a friend. He just came back from Iran, where he was traveling for leisure. And he mentioned that here in Europe, we get only one side of the news, never the whole picture, that the news is skewed. And also we can mention subliminal advertising here. Although it was banned in countries including the UK, Canada, Australia, it keeps going. Subliminally flashed images, which means below the threshold of consciousness, these images can influence mood and a feeling of familiarity with a product, but the evidence of its impact on actual choice is very spotty. But the public still believes that it works. Actually, recently, an IINet advertisement has been banned in Australia. Media have also psychological effects. They change the people's outlook of looking towards life. They change values, beliefs. I don't need to mention the effect on children and youth, declining quality of their lifestyle, eating disorders in the youth of society, or blind imitation of what appears in the news. On the other hand, media have positive effects too. It is easy to forget them because they don't get much attention. I have also nearly forgotten them or took them for granted. Thanks to this webinar, I got more present to them. So what are the positive effects? They provide entertainment, like movie shows, music. They enable a global exchange of information and knowledge. They mean easy ways of communication. They can reach out to people in various parts of the world. The media inform the people about the latest news and happening around the world. They play an important role in shaping the public opinion. They also play an important role in publicizing cases which require public attention. And in addition to being a news provider, the media are also considered as a link between the government and the people, since they inform the public about the general developments by the government and also serve as a choice of the general population expressing their opinions and ideas. So it is hard to argue with the fact that the mass media have a compelling effect on the human mind, especially on minds which are more impressionable. So media are affecting your thinking, acting, behavior, both positively and negatively. And they are, in fact, influencing a major part of your daily life. So what is the impact on you? Think about it for a moment. Is your mind focused on the negative? And do you let the news and advertising to influence you? Or are you aware of the effects and do you consciously choose what you watch and read? I want to speak about two important concepts that you should be aware of, or it's good to know. Thoughts lead to feelings, they lead to actions, and they lead to results. What I mean by that, I show you an example. If you think that you are good enough or you can achieve what you want, you are going to feel good about yourself, aren't you? And because you feel good, you are more likely to take an action, which means getting the results you want. And on the other hand, if you think that it doesn't make sense or that you may not, the other people may not like your idea or you are too small to do something, you are not going to feel good about your idea or yourself. You will have a low self-esteem. You will be filled with anxiety, fear, and most likely you are not going to take any action. And that means no results. So this concept is very important, and it's very important that you understand it, that your thoughts can influence your feelings, which then influences you whether you take action or not, and then whether you get the results or not. And that leads to the second concept, which means what you focus on expands. So if you focus on the negative, then that's what you see. And you will see it everywhere. And it's the same for the positive. If you focus on the positive, again, you will see it everywhere. So change your mind from focusing on what's wrong or negative to what's good or positive. Because your subconscious is looking for evidence. So you will get more of what you think or believe it's true. So, for example, if you believe that people are generally good, you will experience that. You will meet such people. And there will be events happening to you when you will experience that people are in general good. And of course, on the other hand, if you don't believe that, if you believe that, I don't know, you cannot trust people, then that will be what you will be experiencing and seeing. So again, this is quite interesting and important concept to know and be aware of it, because this is quite crucial for your life, and it is you who decides what you focus on and what you think about. And of course, you can change your focus and your thoughts. So as I mentioned, not everybody is aware of it, so I hope that now it raises a little bit the awareness of this. And so what is the connection between the mass media and happiness? There has been done a lot of research, because it's a complex issue. It's not a straightforward thing. But some of the findings are that mass media have proven to have both positive and negative effects on the happiness. And while having access to news information may result in a gain of happiness, the information itself may not. So the access to news information may result in a happiness, but the information itself may not. And though the media can function to make people temporarily happy, the evidence against such long-term positive effects is substantial. So again, it's down to all the news or, for example, the advertisings or the things that are happening. So the media intake consumed in a balanced and conscious way can actually improve personal and societal happiness levels. And benefits to having a more balanced perspective of the news are, for instance, positive outlook on life, hope, opportunities. How can we ensure the balanced way? What are the ways to manage the effects of the gloom and doom news? Limit the media intake, play the defense, or play the opportunistic offense. What do I mean by that? Let's have a look at each of them. So limit the media intake. You can choose to limit your media intake and consciously decide what information you feed to your subconscious. So you limit the intake and you limit the amount of negative influence it can have on you. And don't accept news at face value. Watch and read selected news sources because it's up to you. And you can start to question things. Also understand that news is a business. And of course, the newspapers or all the companies, they do maximum for what they can to sell their newspapers. But on the other hand, if people won't buy the news or newspapers, then we have a choice. Also, some conversations with friends and family are not helping. For example, my last stay in the Czech Republic, I experienced something similar, that my family, my friends, they all were saying what they didn't like about the economy, what they didn't like about the politics, what they didn't like about this and that. And at some point, I just couldn't listen to it anymore. And so one of the recommendations would be to avoid such conversations, because definitely they don't leave you empowered. So the other way, as I mentioned, was play defense. What does it mean? You can focus on the positive effects of the media, because there is so much of that, so much information and knowledge. You can use media to learn or grow and share. Also, you can also not only learn, but also share your knowledge and information. And you can choose your own beliefs about the world, and you can choose your thoughts and feelings of your own reality. So that's what I mentioned before, start to question things. Is it really like that? Or how is it actually? So again, we have the choice. And internet is a great source of a lot of inspirational and motivational news, videos, presentations, reports. So look for them. I'm sure you are already receiving, for example, from friends or just going to different websites. You know your own videos or presentations that you like. It's also a great way how to manage the effects of the gloom and doom news. And the last that I mentioned was play offense. You might figure out great opportunities to become more productive and get things done rather than feel helpless and throw your hands in the air and play the role of the victim. You can contribute your positive and inspiring news to websites collecting such news, and there are many, so why not to contribute? Or you can take on a project or initiative to offer alternatives to the current news. I think the opportunities are limitless. You can come up with any idea. But on the other hand, most people never get to this stage because fear is blinding them to the opportunities. For some, it's easier to play the role of a victim, to complain. Some may not know how to change it. So all this can stop people from taking a more active role. But as you can see, there are ways for everybody. And these are few actions that everybody can start to implement immediately and every day. And I would like to share with you my way of managing the effects. I stopped watching TV news and reading newspapers some time ago. And recently I came across a project that I took part in 2008. It was about inspiring news. It was a response to the negative news in the media. And when I read more about it, I realized that almost nothing has changed since that time. So I started to think what to do, how to change it. Because I know that not watching news, that's not the way forward. So I have come up with my new project, and I call it Empowering Global News. Every month, we prepare a newsletter full of news from people around the world, and we are thinking of ways how to offer alternatives to people if they want to watch or listen or read balanced news. If you want to find out a little bit more about it, you can go to the website, which is www.empoweringglobalnews.com. And I invite you to go to the website and subscribe there. And also invite your friends too, so that we can create a huge community of like-minded people who care about the news. And what is your way of protecting yourself from the media's effect? What are you going to do differently? Think about it. How much are you aware of the positive effects of the media? Do you focus more on the negative effects or the positive ones? Which of the ways do you like the most? Which one suits you? I have a challenge for you. Over the next 7 days, start to notice what influence the TV, advertising, newspapers, internet have on you, and how you feel about it. And consciously change your focus to the positive in all areas of your life. It might not be easy, but try. Because first thing is awareness. Once we are aware of something, then we can do something about it. So noticing your thoughts and beliefs, are they mostly negative or positive? If you notice that they are negative, stop it and change the focus. Of course, at the beginning it might be difficult, but with practice it will get easier and easier. And you will notice the difference on yourself and also on your life. You can contribute your positive news to the newsletter Empowering Global News. You can subscribe, as I mentioned already before, on the website www.empoweringglobalnews.com. And after 7 days, you can decide whether you want to continue or go back to your old habits. Also, if you want, you can share with me your findings. It would be interesting for me to know what have you found out, what have you noticed, and what have you decided to do or not to do. So, and don't forget to have fun. because that's important, that we have fun in our life. So, and this means we are at the end. I would like to thank you for your attention. It was a pleasure to share with you this information. And I trust you are now aware of the positive and negative media's effects and what you can do to protect yourself from the gloom and doom news. And this webinar is also will be available on my website and other channels. And I would like to spread the information about this webinar, but also about the things that I was talking about. I would like to share this with other people so that as many people as possible are aware of this. Because as I mentioned, the awareness is the first step. Once we are aware of something, then we can do something about it. And one last thing, if you or someone you know is looking for a professional coach to guide them through a career change or move to a new country, get in touch with me on my email info@movenowcoaching.com. So wishing you love and abundance, and look forward to reading your inspiring news. Thank you. Goodbye.